Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Riderpiece Theater. Me, Alista Dayhawk, and tonight, me proud to present Kamen Rider Gavv, episode 23. Happy Hanto Day, everyone! Well, technically, Valentine's Day was on Friday this year, but And this episode, unfortunately, this wasn't a Valentine's Day / Hanto Day episode. However, we got a lot of information about the origins of the stomach company to the discovery of Hungry Bizarro, and also the most important piece of information is what the hell happened to Hanto's mother. Because last week, after the destruction of Hungry Bizarro, Shoma was about to be thrown over and being dunked into a river up until Hanto grabs him by the arm, and we get to see a memory of him being a little kid, seeing Hanto's mom being in the Granute world. So that's where we leave off today in this episode, where we automatically go to where we left off last week. Only this time Shoma remembers everything that happened to Hanto's mom. So he tells Hanto what he remembers on back in the day. So we get to see mini Shoma escaping from his room, and he just wanders around the mansion, and we get to see the company, of where we saw him invading the factory with the Kita, if you remember. And then all of a sudden, mini Shoma gets grabbed by none other than Hanto's mother, and she is assuming that he was also captured by the granutes. So she got that impression, and she assumes that Shoma is looking for his mother. So they both go on a search for her. And this is where they both stumble across an area they shouldn't go, because this is where Shoma discovers the dark treat. He holds one of them on his hands, and it looked like he was curious enough to take a bite out of the candy crack, but luckily Shoma's mom takes it away from him, and she takes him to this area where the other kidnappees were being held. They were all in steel beds, hooked up with wires and everything. And mini Shoma was shocked to see what the hell is he staring at. And he's like asking Mom, like, why have you taken me here? Like, what's going on? And why are you showing me this? That's what he said, or at least the subs. And Hanto's mom was like, wait a minute. Like, she was shocked. Like, what? Like, and she asked, like, where did you come from? Because she assumes that, again, this kid was kidnapped by these aliens. But then Longo shows up with his, agents, and he was looking for Shoma because apparently their father is looking for him. And seeing Hanto's mom was just bad luck on the mother's side, because Longo wasn't even looking for her. So it was like two birds with one stone. And so the moment came when Shoma says the words Aniki or Onichan. And Hanto's mom just like stares back at Shoma and just pushes him towards his older brother, and like she was like, oh, so you're one of them. So she's terrified. And we get to see another painful moment in Shoma's life, because as we know, as he grew up, well, he's a teenager now, he saw his own mother getting killed by his own siblings. Now, in what looks like to be 10, 11, maybe younger, looks like a 10, 12, 11-year-old, I guess. But in any case, he's like, his first, sight of death is seeing Hanto's mother being dunked into this pool of green water. And you see this mother, shouting, screaming, and you see her getting dissolved right before Shoma's eyes. And Longo tells Mini Shoma, that we use humans as ingredients to create, the candy crack, which traumatizes Shoma. And then after Hanto's mother gets dissolved in that green water, we go back to the present, and Shoma once again is begging Hanto for forgiveness. He is sorry that he didn't remember his mother in time. He's sorry that he didn't tell Hanto that he was a granute. He's sorry about everything at this point. And Hanto, just to put it mildly, he is handling the news well. Just to put it mildly. Because he knew from his heart, from the moment his mother got kidnapped before his eyes, like, he knew that he wasn't going to see her ever again. And now it's confirmed that she is dead, along with who killed her, which was Lago. So he is still sad, obviously. Like, I'm sure Hanto in his heart also felt like if there's no body, there's a chance that she may be alive somewhere. But now with this confirmation, he is really in the dumps. And he knows that it's not Shoma's fault, obviously. He knows that. It's just that he needs time to process the news, and he asks Shoma, I need some time to be alone, and see you later. And as Hanto leaving Shoma alone, Shoma is like, he understands him, because he was him not too long ago. And now that's out of the way, Shoma says it's now time that I tell somebody else the truth. Someone else being Sachika. So he decides now that it's the time. Now is the time to tell Sachika the truth next. So after the opening credits, Hanto returns to the offices of Dr. Nick, and he talks to him about Bitter Gavv and what happened. And Dr. Nick was like, "Oh, so you both destroyed him? Oh, that's good." and of course, he was telling Dr. Nick as well that Shoma wasn't our Shoma; it was an evil clone. And then he just leaves Dr. Nick. But before he leaves the doctor, Dr. Nick gives him a Hanto Day gift, aka a Valentine's Day gift. And in that gift, there's like a darker chocolate cachizos, a couple of them. And he says, like, here, I created those. Like you can't rely on Shoma for so long. Like, you have to rely on yourself, rely on me as well, because I can create cachizos as well. And Hanto was like, yeah, okay, I get it. You're right. So he takes his gift and he leaves, and then we get to see, Dr. Nick with his evil smile. So we all know that he's up to no good again. So if something is up with those evil looking, bitter chocolate cachizos, as he said it in the sub. So as he leaves the offices, Hanto receives a text message from someone named Kataro. And then we get to the next scene where apparently Shoma told Sachika everything off screen, including the fact that he is a Kamen Rider. And so she sees the Gachizos for the first time, and she thinks as them as cute, and it's a good sign. And also she's seeing Shoma's Gavv, his second stomach, for the first time as well. And Sachika is having a terrible time because you have Shoma, who is basically an angel, and he came from the most, I will say it, shittiest of families, because you have Lago, Nabe, Gota, and the twins, and they're monsters. Let's call it what they are. They're monsters. They're out to destroy not just the human world, but also gonna destroy their own world as well, because remember, Lago's goal is to use the dark treats to take control of the most powerful people, or granutes, and just take control of them. And again, it goes back to the parents. Like Papa's stomach and Mother's stomach, like they are the ones responsible for raising those pieces of crap. So that's their fault more than that it is theirs, okay? It all goes back to the parents. And so Sachika's like, look, I don't want to talk trash about your family, your mother aside. At least she raised you well. But your siblings and your father, they're pieces of shit. Like, she didn't say it, obviously, but she was like, giving her piece of her mind in terms of Shoma's other half of the family. So now it goes. So after that, Sachika asks, okay, so where do we go from here, like with me? And Shoma says, well, nothing has changed. It's just I told you who and what I am. I've shown you the Gachizos and everything. Nothing has changed. I still want to live here and help you and save people. Like, nothing has changed. So Sachika was glad to hear that. So she decided to officially be part of the club, which is, Hanto, Shoma, now Lakita, and of course Sachika. She wants to get involved. And Shoma was like, no. Like, I don't want you involved in this. It's too dangerous. But Sachika made an excellent point. Like, look, Shoma, I understand, but there's other ways for me to help you. I can help you behind the scenes. Like, for instance, I can feed you candy. It's your source of your power, right? So I can buy you candy, make you desserts, whatever it takes. I can help you with that. And that's where it leads to Sachika asking Shoma, hey, can I see you produce a Gachizo? And Shoma's like, yeah, I can do that. Just give me something, give me a candy, and I'll eat it in front of you, and you will get to see the birth of a Gachizo, which I thought at that time it was going to happen off screen. So we get to Hanto and Kataro, because apparently Kataro is a long-lost friend of Hanto. And they're just catching up. They were having dinner. They were having Japanese barbecue, I believe. And they were just talking, reminiscing, and it led to, Hanto remembering his old mentor and how he got killed. And then the talk of monsters came in, because I'm sure Hanto tells his friend here that, hey, I've been looking for monsters, especially the wolf granute. And he asked, are you still pursuing that? And of course he said yes. And this is where things get a little bit weird, because as Hanto was talking about monsters and everything, we get to see the restaurant owner, taking the empty plates, and overhears that Hanto is hunting down monsters, and he gave a weird look on his face. So it's a dead giveaway, guys, that apparently the restaurant owner is a granute in disguise. And yeah, so that's the dead giveaway. So we get back to the office, and after he ate the candy, for some reason Shoma couldn't produce a gachizo, and Sachika was disappointed, and Shoma was like, "Oh, this is the second time that this happens. I'm just too stressed right now. I'm not sick, but I think I'm just too stressed to produce gachizos right now." So it's all about the mental stuff. So Sachika was disappointed, but she was concerned about his well-being, that sort of thing. And we immediately go back to the restaurant where Hanto pays the tab, and his friend, air quotes now, sells Hanto for yen because the restaurant owner was like buying Hanto's friend like for information. Hey, like, here's a couple of yen. I will give you this money in exchange for information about your friend. And that's where Kantaro sells his friend out for a pair of yen. So we get to the next morning. Shoma leaves to check on something while Sachika was like, "Are you sure? Are you feeling good?" But Sachika, being the friend / mother that she is very concerned. But Shoma's like, "Don't worry about me. I'm fine. I need to check up on something since there's no work today, so I'm gonna go." And Sachika does the next best thing. She goes online and she is trying to clear up Shoma's good name. And I've noticed that she's using the picture that I use for my thumbnail of Hungry Bizarro with the crazy eyes, posting, "This is a fake. It's a doppelganger." So if you see him, he's evil. But if you see another one of him, that's the good one with the bright colors. Yeah, I know it's funny because I'm like, of all the pictures they have for Hungry Bizarro, they chose the one with the crazy eyes. I'm just saying. Anyway, so Shoma meets up with Lakita and they talk about Hungry Bizarro, and it causes Shoma like a question like, did I have a twin brother I didn't know about? And he knows that he has a person who will tell him the truth. And Lakita asks, "Who is this person?" And it leads to the next scene where Shoma introduces to his great uncle Dente to Lakita, and the introductions went well until he decided to open his big mouth about him being the creator of the dark treats, which causes Lakita to go berserk and decides to pull a dread on his ass. Shoma tries to break those two up, but that led him to him collapsing. And then we get to the next scene where he is bed-stricken, and it led to Lakita asking, "So, you like human snacks?" And it led to an origin story of the dark treats and the company itself, because Dente said that the stomach company was meant to be a candy company, not to what it is right now. And Shoma was in shock, like, really? So the company that I grew up with, it wasn't meant to be, this mob type of company. It's meant to be like a candy company. And then Tia is like, yeah. And he was telling the story about Grandpa Zepp, and he wanted to, create a company for the granute world, which is candies. He wanted to bring candies from the human world to the granute world. And so he and Dente worked together, and Dente was the one who created the candies while Zeb tries to sell them. And then we get to see the origins of the dark treats, where he comes back with a jar of green water and tells Uncle Dente that, hey, I've discovered a new ingredient, and here it is. Here you go. And therefore, Dente created the first dark treats, and they were selling out like hotcakes. And this is where Grandpa makes the fatal mistake here, because even though they were selling like hotcakes, he was asking Dente to keep improving on the dark treats. He wanted to make it more sweet, more addictive, and which happened. And so this is where Uncle Zeb realizes that he created something that he could use to rule the world with, because the dark treats has become very addictive to the point where a lot of granutes crave it, like it got turned into a drug. Let's call it like it is. And Dente became disillusioned with his work, and he just decides that, well, I'm going to work on my great nephew's surgery. And then it led to him going to the human world, and just decides to stay there and tells Nave that, hey, take over my work for me. And that's the end of it. So now we know. So after that, we get to Hanto. And Hanto receives a call from Kataro. Yeah, sorry, Kataro. And he calls Hanto saying that there's a monster at Akashi Bay, and Hanto tells his friend, do not do anything, hide, don't do anything until I get there. But then his luck went from bad to worse, because as he was about to leave, we get to see Hungry Bizarro, and he just stops the car, and what's worse, he does a Braun Strowman effect. He did a Braun Strowman. And for those who've seen WWE knows what I'm talking about. And for those who've seen the episode 2, you will know. So he does the Braun Strowman, and this is where Hanto just decides to, not go over there and stop Hungry Bizarro. So, and because he was in the tough spot, either he confronts Bizarro now, or go to Akashi Bay and save his best friend. So he is in a tough predicament here, and this is where he quickly makes a phone call. So we get to the next scene with Shoma and Nikita, and Shoma, you can tell by his tone, he was sad to know that, yeah, Bitter Gavv is not your twin. And Nikita's like, are you fine with it? Because you don't look like you're fine with it. And before Shoma can answer, he gets a phone call from Sachika telling Shoma, hey, your evil twin has been spotted in this area. And so both Nikita and Shoma go to the scene of the crime, and Shoma is surprised to see Bizarro alive and well. And he was like, how is it possible? We've destroyed you. And Hungry Bizarro was like, what are you talking about? Like, I haven't met you. And this is where we get the information, a shocking information, that apparently Dr. Nick is mass producing Bizarro clones. So they did destroy one clone. What they're seeing right now is a second clone. And there is a major difference between the two, because the first one was dubbed Hungry Hungry Bizarro for a reason. He was craving foods in order to get himself cachizos for power, versus this version of Bizarro, he's all happy and he's just like, he doesn't want power, he just wants to play in his destruction. So he is happy that he is causing chaos, and Shoma's like, you need to stop. We're here to stop you. So if you notice, this Bizarro is happy Bizarro because he's all acting like a child. He is destroying things in the name of fun, and it's no good. It's causing chaos. So in order to get information from Happy Bizarro, he pulled a whole, if you want more information of who my master is, who's my creator, then you need to catch me, which causes all three of them to transform. Shoma is telling the people to leave, and he saves the driver from the flipped car. And so it's another 2-on-1 handicap match. And Lakita notices that this Bizarro, this version of Shoma, is a lot stronger than the first one. And they're having a terrible time. And Happy Bizarro pushes the flipped car to two bystanders, and luckily Shoma saves the two women and tells them to leave. But unfortunately, one of them had a broken ankle, so Shoma's like, oh crap. And this is where Lakita and Shoma had a mini argument, because Lakita was like, we can't worry about those two. We need to capture this guy in order to get more information out of him. And Shoma is like, no, I can't. My mission has always been helping and saving people. I don't care about his information right now. So he's thinking more of a hero, versus Lakita, who's like, he told Shoma straight up, like, I have no connections with humans. I'm sorry. And they're like irrelevant right now. What's important right now is capturing your evil clone and get him to submit and get the information out of him. And that's where Happy Bizarro takes advantage of the situation and be like, oh, you two are fighting each other. That means, you can't stop me because you're arguing. So that means I can make my getaway now. And he uses his Cachizo to create his dark version of the motorcycle. It's not really a motorcycle, but his vehicle, and he just drives away. And Shoma's like, mate, and so he decides to summon his vehicle and chases after it, but not before telling Lakita, can you look after those two, like take them to a hospital or something. And Lakita just turns around and stares at those two women and be like, oh, this sucks. And then the episode ends with a chase scene between Happy Bizarro and, of course, the King of Sweets, Shoma. And that's the end of the episode, kids. Instead of a themed episode of Hanto Day, we had an episode of more revelations and discoveries, because apparently Dr. Nick is mass producing these clones, and now Lakita is introduced to Uncle Dente, and now we know the information, at least the origin story of the dark treats, to what was meant for the stomach company to be as just a simple candy company until it got corrupted. And of course, we now know what actually happened to Hanto's mother. And again, like, Shoma in such a young age witnessed death for the first time, and Hanto, oh my god, like he knew in his heart that he will never see her again, but not to actually know what actually happened to her, I wouldn't be surprised that he will want to go after Longo for revenge. I'm just saying. And now with these dark cachizos he was given by Dr. Nick, he's going to turn into Bully Hanto. He's going to turn into a Dark Valen next week. And my theory of them being half siblings has been, debunked now. There's no way that Shoma and Hanto are blood related now, unfortunately. But now that memory has been cleared up. But now there's the first memory where Shoma was remembering a piece of a memory where he saw a wolf granute capturing Hanto's mother and seeing mini Hanto with his mouth open. Can you imagine that it was Shoma being the wolf granute? And he remembers, he got his memory back of the incident of the kidnapping, but he knows that he needs to tell Hanto the truth about this new memory of his, but then he notices that Hanto is not his Hanto. Like, he's much darker and more, he's quick in anger and, bully, aka Bully Hanto. And he is once again stuck between a rock and a hard place now, because if Hanto becomes Bully Hanto and Shoma remembers that it was him that kidnapped his mom, then Shoma is once again back to square one. But here's the thing though, he has at least 2, maybe 3 people in his life now that he can go and seek advice from. Uncle Dente, Lakita, maybe not Lakita, but most definitely Sachika. And now that Sachika is now officially on his side and knows everything, it will make things easier for Shoma to be like, hey, Sachika, I'm in a tough bind right now because I remember what happened to Hanto's mother, like before she was dissolved. I think I unintentionally kidnapped her. And I don't know what to do because Hanto is acting strange. He is more like, he is different. He's not our Hanto. So what should I do? Because I know I need to tell him, but if I tell him, he's going to go on a rampage. He's going to try and kill me. And it's going to be very, very bad. So I think this is where Sachika is going to give him some advice. However, it's going to take a while before, telling Hanto another truth, especially with that mean streak that he has, thanks to the chocolates that Dr. Nick gave. But then next week, not only we get Bully Hanto, we also going to get the debut of Shoma's ultimate form. And yeah, it's around this time, folks. The ultimate form is coming next week. And then a few episodes later, we're going to have his ultimate form. His mega form, sorry. And yeah, I can't believe that we're in episode 24 now. And we're close to the 30s, and it's insane. And yeah, this show is going by very, very fast. And it's insane. And already after this episode, things are going to get worse for Shoma. Because now he knows that, okay, these evil clones of his, they're not going to end. And Shoma and Lakita and Hanto don't know that it's Dr. Nick who is mass producing these clones. For what purpose? My guess is to create his own granute for him to control. Because the first one was a berserker, and the second one right now is acting childish. So I'm guessing the next couple of clones, that one clone is going to come out, be all perfect, and it's going to be major problems with those three right now. And then also dealing with bully Hanto for a little bit, and then of course dealing with the Stomach family, which by the way, they haven't made an appearance yet except for a flashback. So right now they're in the character closet plotting for their little brother's demise. So we don't know what's gonna happen. So yeah, it's exciting, and we get to see, a darker Hanto plus Shoma's ultimate form. So I'm excited about that. So yeah, enough of me rambling. Have you seen the episode? If so, give me your thoughts and opinions about it, and give a like if you like it, and please subscribe. And also, if I miss anything important, because even though I have my notes in front of me, I may have missed a couple of important facts, so please write in the comments below. And again, give a like if you like this review, and please subscribe. And I'll see you all on the other side of Oblivion. Happy Hanto Day, everybody. Johnny!